Elon praised God for his courage and his bravery revealing this. And I try to get lawmakers involved and other people. And I don't think we'll ever be able to measure the impact of what Twitter did to our voices online in the calendar year of 2020. The lives that were lost, the kids that really had speech impediments and delays and school closures, and of course, the outcome of the 2020 election all came from a censorship regime from Twitter.
This video is brought to you by Epic TV. Epic TV. What is Epic TV? Epic TV is a censorship-free video platform with original news programming like Crossroads, The Larry Elder Show, Facts Matter, American Thought Leaders, and documentaries investigating critical issues that are not covered anywhere else. Why do I trust the Epic Times? They're unbiased. They report important news that most media outlets ignore. They focus on clear, fact-based journalism without spin or hidden agendas. They are truthful. They report just the facts and trust that the discernment of the people who listen to them can figure out and come to their own conclusion without any biases. They're resilient, and despite the attacks from many sides, defamation from other media, thugs burning their printing presses and assaulting their journalists, the Epic Times continues to dedicate themselves to reporting the truth. If you're looking for an unbiased, truthful, and resilient news source, check them out today. We have a special offer for the people who are watching, for my viewers. Just sign up and start watching. No credit card requirement, no strings attached. If you decide to subscribe within 14 days, it's just $1 for 2 months. So go to watchepic.com/Tatum to subscribe. That's watchepoch.com/Tatum. Like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live, make a video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, like the video, comment on the video, share this video. Let's get into this. The biggest topic that I want to address right now that I think is incredibly important is the Twitter dump, the Twitter files. And the vindication of the Twitter files being released feels good, but I'm hoping that something is done by these big tech companies that lied about intentionally censoring conservatives. No more can somebody say, oh, those conservatives just lying and making this up. No, there's evidence. I got evidence right here. I'm looking at the evidence that they censored conservatives because they disagreed with what they had to say. And let me tell you this. You talk about voter suppression. These big tech companies were active in voter suppression because if you don't have a balanced perspective, you don't have the information you need to accurately vote because they're censoring and controlling speech, that's a problem. Let me go on and tell you pretty much what they found. Of course, they'll tell the world that we don't do censorship. We don't do shadow banning is what they say. We don't shadow ban people. Well, of course they don't shadow ban people, but they use the word visibly filtering, which is the same thing as shadow banning. Of course they'll tell you they don't shadow ban because they don't use that word, but they're visibility filtering. Visibility filtering. Let me give you some examples of conservatives whom they visibility filtering, where they visibility filtered. I guess you could use that word. One of the people that we know very prominently, Charlie Kirk, Dan Bongino, Libs of TikTok, the Stanford professor, Dr. J, I think is Bhattacharya. That's what I'm going to call him, Bhattacharya. His name is crazy. It's like 20 letters in there. Bhattacharya, and he was labeled that he's trend blacklisted. So his information, his content couldn't be trending. And the reason that they blocked him because he was expressing how coronavirus lockdowns would harm children. You go to Charlie Kirk, or at least go to Dan Bongino, and they had Dan Bongino under a search blacklist. So that means that you couldn't search for Dan Bongino's page. You couldn't search for none of his content. Charlie Kirk, they had him on a do not amplify. which means that if Charlie Kirk is saying things that are popular and people want to hear it and it's truthful, they made it to where he could not be amplified.
I had a very warm meeting with some of the Twitter employees back in the summer of 18. I actually met with Jack Dorsey personally, where he assured me shadow banning wasn't happening. And I didn't really believe him at the time, but I said, okay, whatever, because I wasn't really experiencing a lot of what we consider censorship. And then 6 months later, 12 months later, I still had their contact information, and I started to write them like, hey, guys, something's not right here. Silence. And then the virus happened in 2020, and you could not get a response out of Twitter. And then you would start to tweet at Jack and tweet at the Twitter management, and it was almost as if it became a wholly operated company that kind of changed their modus operandi from being somewhat of a social media platform to a Democrat super PAC. And I don't think they really cared. And Elon, praise God for his courage and his bravery revealing this. And I try to get lawmakers involved and other people. And I don't think we'll ever be able to measure the impact of what Twitter did to our voices online in the calendar year of 2020. The lives that were lost, the kids that really had speech impediments and delays and school closures, and of course, the outcome of the 2020 election all came from a censorship regime from Twitter.
The interesting thing is that I got the evidence right here. These are screenshots of some of the tags, and you probably can't see them that clear, but these are screenshots of some of the tags. They have tags on people's accounts. And this right here is Dan Bongino, search blacklist. And they have some other indicators on here that shows you very clearly that you cannot search for Dan Bongino's content. And then they also banned Libs of TikTok. They visibly filtered them. Also, Babylon Bee, because they called the transgender HHS Assistant Secretary, Dr. Rachel Levine, a man. Jokingly, it's a satire account. So they jokingly call this dude a man, and they get censored by Twitter. The ramifications, what do you say? Bhattacharya. Okay, I said it. I said Bhattacharya is Bhattacharya. Bhattacharya, Dr. Bhattacharya, who was standing up for children not to be locked down because it was going to hurt them educationally, probably developmentally, all of the above. I mean, kids should have never been exposed to that. We should have never shut our country down. But these people are nutty, and they had an agenda. And somehow we didn't see the agenda coming for whatever reason, but it came and it went. And then I think it's still lingering. But to see that they legitimately censored conservatives, because I would like to see some information like this on liberals. You got people like Louis Farrakhan. You got other people that are blatantly racist openly, and they still get to tweet no censors. But conservatives tweet, and they're biasly appropriating certain rules to conservatives that they don't do to other people. It is a shame that they did this. But now, this is not the only evidence. Thank God that Elon Musk is bringing this stuff out, but I'm sure there's a mountain of evidence, or if they say a mound of evidence, where they've done all kinds of nefarious things. We already have seen that the Secretary of State right here in the state of Arizona, Katie Hobbs, who was running for governor, reached out to Twitter to have them take down information that could be politically at a disadvantage for her. And they did it. How much of that information was influential in the election in the state of Arizona? Democrats, through the 2020 election, were coordinating with Twitter to have certain content blocked, censored, filtered, whatever you want to call it. How much of that influenced the election? And they stopped the Hunter Biden laptop from coming out. Now just imagine how much of that interfered in the election. If people had an opportunity to see what a fraud the Biden family was, do you think they would have voted for him? He's more of a legitimate fraud than they can paint Donald Trump to ever be. He's more of a legitimate fraud than any other president that I know of. The dude was literally doing pay-to-play in front of everybody. His son is smoking crack off of prostitutes in other countries, and they were doing deals with China and other countries as he's while he was the vice president of the United States of America, using his power and leverage to gain financial security for his family in his private life. Not in the public life, not as a politician, but in his private life. And then they have this financial structure set up to where they pay the big man, the big guy, 10%. And those payments begin to become due after he left office. The year that he wasn't as a president, when Donald Trump was the president, that year was when all that money started paying off. It makes me wonder, when Clinton was in office, when Hillary was in office, well, I say Clinton, her husband, and then when Hillary Clinton was working under the Obama administration, how much dirt did they do? Bashing and smashing laptops, having a private server in your house, all of those things are troublesome. And they're all dirty. And at what point are we going to reveal and call them out for what they're doing? I'll tell you what, Alex Jones should be reinstated. And this is my opinion, because Elon Musk claims that he is about free speech. Alex Jones should be reinstated to Twitter. If you listen to what Alex Jones have said over the years, he's about 99% right about most stuff that he say. Now, there's a shock factor to it. The Sandy Hook thing, I think, was a one-off. And, of course, there's consequences for things like that. Not one thing that Alex Jones did got anybody killed. None of the children that were killed in Sandy Hook had anything to do with Alex Jones. Maybe the family had to be re-traumatized. Maybe if somebody said that their children died and it was all fake. But I tell you this, if somebody in my family were to lose their lives and people were out on the internet saying it was fake, who cares? Who cares? You're not gonna bring my family member back because you lying or me exposing you for being a liar or me getting out in the world and telling the truth. What does it matter? Now, if that's your kid, I know you will be upset. I'm 100% supporting a person being upset from somebody coming out and making up stuff. But for you to get paid $1 billion settlement, you getting paid more money from a guy who made a commentary than for the people who are responsible for killing your kids. The school, the police. Nobody's held responsible more than the guy on social media that you don't have to watch, that don't have as much influence as a president would. They act like Alex Jones got more influence than a president. It was only a niche group of people that listen to Alex Jones. He ended up having to pay the family out. To me, I think that's an injustice. However, I think Alex Jones should be back on Twitter. The world needs to hear what Alex Jones has to say because he's one of the smartest, articulate person who's willing to go down the rabbit hole and figure out the truth. All this stuff that we're saying right now, shadow ban and stuff, Alex Jones been saying it. All this stuff about COVID-19 and all this, Alex Jones been talking about it. The deep state and all this other stuff, one world government, Alex Jones been talking about it. And if Alex Jones had a bigger voice on Twitter, and if you don't like him, don't listen to him, how many people would be thinking twice about the way they vote? Hold the phone, ladies and gentlemen. I have to talk about more stuff when we come after the break. You listen to The Alpha Tatum Show.